guys, it's the Real Aquarian here. I'm doing the monthly read for Aquarius. And I'm just going to go ahead and just jump right in. Try not to take up too much of your time. How are my fellow Aquarians doing? Well, I hope. Hope everything's going great. And if it's not, I hope it improves sooner rather than later. I realize I'm doing that with every sign. It's like a little mini blessing. I just want everybody, you know, to be happy. I want there to be a positive outlook on life for everyone, you know? Okay. Make sure we can see. Aquarius. Oh, boy. Okay, well, okay. Silver lining, I would automatically say not as bad as you're kind of thinking. Okay. 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 So, Aquarius, fellow Aquarians. We have, you know, some inner rumblings happening this month. We have some real focal points of work needing to be kind of addressed. And ultimately, we will find ourselves in a better place as a result. But this is a month of kind of, you know, clearing the full board. And that's what the Tower ultimately brings in. But clearing the whole board of whatever issues, past transgressions against you, whatever hurt, whatever insecurities you have. It's about just kind of leveling the playing field and understanding yourself to, you know, the 10th degree, taking yourself to a higher state of knowing yourself, which isn't a bad thing. That's a good thing. It's just there's a lot of work and there's a lot of issues to kind of have to deal with in a month. But, you know, much like the Tower, the silver lining is once it's done, and you can move forward as a result on a stronger kind of foundation, on, you know, less shaky footing. So we have the Tower in reverse. So what I'm getting immediately is not only what the Tower typically is that necessary kind of swift destruction, the kind of disruption, change, leveling that occurs in your life, that will be occurring this month. But what I'm seeing is as it's reversed, what's happening is you are resisting that change. You are resisting what inevitably is going to happen. You're kind of not digging the fact that you're not more in control of that situation. And so you're kind of fighting against it. But you have to kind of just go with the flow. You have to ultimately see the bigger picture and understand that, you know, life is full of good and it's full of bad. There's this finicky, tricky kind of balance. And you can usually kind of persuade the universe by your actions, by, you know, who you are and how you are, to kind of be more in your favor, to be positive. But ultimately, you're going to have things that hurt you, things that affect you, things that deeply wound you. So life is with the good and bad, and what we're faced here this month is a kind of leveling. And what I'm seeing here is there's a lot of inner rumblings of insecurities. I'm seeing fear, I'm seeing weakness, I'm seeing insecurity, I'm seeing aggressiveness, I'm seeing doubt, I'm seeing a real... Boy, you have not been expressing yourself as well or as much as I think you would have liked. That's what I'm getting from this, is there's this kind of sense of you not kind of bringing to the surface these things that might have happened to you in the past. You know, it's kind of all being cleared out, and that's what we have here with the Tower. There's this leveling of all issues, of all past knocks, of all of it. So, but there's a fear of the change that this brings in, but you shouldn't fear it. And this is why, because right next to it, you have the Star. You should not fear the change that this kind of leveling ultimately you know, you should not fear the change that it ultimately brings, because ultimately you will find yourself in a strengthened, more firmly grasped in who you are. You're getting to know you on a level of kind of dealing with difficulties. So we have a fear of change, but you just have to look at the bigger picture and understand shit happens, and you know, fate is going to go the way fate goes, and all you can do is kind of just buckle up and go for the ride, you know? Time changes, everything changes, so too must you. So, like I said, with the star, we have a situation where, as a result of this kind of, you know, leveling, so you can get back to rebuilding, you are going to be this month hit with a sense of optimism again. You are going to be hit with the sense of, you know, looking for the silver linings and learning lessons and, you know, kind of really grasping, like this is saying, really grasping the bigger picture. As a result, also, you're going to be, how should I say that? You're going to be kind of shedding the skin of your former self. Your former self, by that I mean, you're going to be kind of, you know, this is just, cocoon to butterfly. You're going to be that kind of situation where how you used to approach things, how you used to interact, how you used to handle problems, conflicts, whatever, that's starting to shift this month. There's going to be a kind of renewed sense of self, and it's about you kind of coming into your own and realizing more of your worth. And so it kind of allows you to, this is a wonderful phase of kind of honoring self, of kind of having, you know, this is that part of that spiritual journey that we're all kind of on. That's the journey of life. This is about this month, getting to a place of, you know, we can let go of the past hurts, the past transgressions against us. We have the 7 of Coins, and so I see frustration. That's another emotion you're going to have this month, that with this kind of shift and change. Now remember, you are prolonging this with your resistance. There's this frustration because things aren't necessarily happening as quickly as you might want. And so it's like, you know, you're starting to question, what's this kind of journey worth? What's self-discovery and all this stuff worth with all the energy that I'm putting into it? All the, you know, things I'm trying to do for myself. Why isn't it sort of happening faster? Why isn't it coming together faster? Why am I not seeing the fruits of my labor, you know, my endeavors on self-betterment? And the answer to that would be ultimately because there's a resistance to the actual, real, necessary changes that have to be made. So then I see, this is where we're kind of getting into some finer points of like insecurities and stuff. I mean, not so much here. Here, 5 of Cups reversed, we have a place where you have to reconcile that things don't happen as fast as you like, and they will happen faster as long as you stop resisting them. But we get to a place of, yeah, there's a recovery point. There's a place where you have to relearn to, you know, take risks, to open yourself up, to allow and engage with and settle the kind of buried inner rumblings, you know, the inner feelings that you never really let out, that you've shoved down for, you know, who knows how long. That's, you know, it's your past. Whatever kind of hurts that just stay deep down, that you've never really verbalized or expressed or whatever, that you kind of just put aside, you know, kind of ignored, never faced. This is the necessity for them to kind of bring them forth, process them, handle them, and then let them go. You can let go of the hurt that's associated with that. And as a result, you are building, like we have at the star, you are ultimately building a stronger connection with yourself. You know, you gotta heal the wounds. That's the only way you could be true to self. But then I see here with the Emperor reverse, this is where we have aggression. This is where we have lashing out, mood swings, a kind of, the way I've described it before is, it's sort of like what happens to like a hurt animal that's cornered? Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you expect to happen? There's with the Emperor, typically you have like a dominating personality in the reverse. There's a dominating personality about, that could be in, you know, relationships, that could be in family, that could be in work, that could be friendships. But there's like a dominating energy. There's a dominating, figure about that comes in this month. And it's Aquarians, personality-wise, typically, you know, don't like being told what to do. They kind of, you know, kind of go their own way, kind of like to do things their own way. So when you have these dominating personalities kind of come around you, there's an immediate kind of, you know, threatened kind of feeling. There's an immediate kind of, you know, not wanting to deal with that kind of dominating personality, because that's just not how you flow, Aquarians. But what I would say to that is be careful that it doesn't rub off on you. Be careful that you don't want to lash out at everyone. You don't want to have a bad reaction to things that aren't necessarily as bad. You know, there's a difference between someone having a dominating personality and somebody being, you know, domineering over you. But that is what this signifies, is that is what you are feeling. That is the vibe you're getting, and you don't like it, so you react negatively against it. And ultimately you kind of like shut down a bit in this month. You kind of just don't want to have a part in it. It's making you unhappy. It's leaving you kind of unsettled. And there's this, you have to be careful, because there's this kind of stubbornness that kind of settles in if you're not careful about just addressing, you know, all past issues, all, you know. So it's like you're worried about you're trying to fix your past. You're trying to put real emphasis and input on your future, but even there you're kind of worrying about it. You're kind of really trying to go through a real transformation for yourself, but you have all these kinds of insecurities and energies around that are just not very conducive to it. And it's kind of not only hindering your process, but making you feel doubtful of your process as a whole. It's making you question whether or not it's worth it if you're met with all these kinds of resistances. And ultimately, that's where we have the strength in reverse. So this goes to the heart of weakness. This goes to, you know, feeling like your inner strength, your capacity to handle things, your decisions. There's this real sense of, you know, doubt. There's a questioning of how your journey is going, because you are met with just one kind of obstacle after another. There's a lot of trials you must go through, and it's not easy. You know, that's never easy. This is never easy, but don't fight it, because that just makes it that much harder. So I would say here, just keep in mind, this is a temporary phase. You will, like the star deems, you will get back in touch with your inner self, back in touch with your source of inner strength and optimism and creativity. As this is just a phase, that those things will come back to you. But just understand that this is like the hurt animal backed in the corner. Again, it's the, you know, if you are feeling weak, if you are feeling vulnerable by a domineering kind of energy, you tend to lash out. You tend to have a real hard resistance towards it. And so that can make you a little hostile. It can make you a little moody. But just keep that in mind. That's a phase. But when you have this kind of domineering kind of energy around you, it's understandable. But the advice here is to, you know, focus on the positive aspects of your life. Don't let this domineering energy kind of infiltrate your whole vibe, your whole process. Don't let it show up on your journey, on your path. Because at the end of the day, it is just an energy kind of around. It's not part of you and your process. But you have to draw on your willpower, your determination, on the star, understanding that you are actually more capable and more and stronger than you are giving yourself credit for. You will have doubts, you will have fears, you will have, you know, a questioning of whether or not your endeavors are going to eventually be fruitful. You will contend with energies that seem a little too in your face. But ultimately, if you go with the flow, if you trust that, you know, things will kind of work out, you will eventually see the fruits of your labor. If you work towards putting your past hurts, you know, to bed, just letting them lie, like, even there, I say letting them lie, but that does not mean just forget them, chuck them out. It means you have to process whatever's your inner sort of turmoil that's happening here, whatever you haven't really brought to the surface and said your truth about. And ultimately, you'll find yourself being able to reverse the strength with the power of the star. You'll be able to find that reconnection with yourself, and you will come out of this month stronger as a result. So just keep that in mind. I didn't mean to be all doom and gloom for you, Aquarians, but it really comes down to you are trying to do something for yourself. You are trying to reach another level of yourself, and you are met with problems and obstacles. But as the Tower teaches us, so, you know, so that is life. That is what it is. So go with it, get through it. You'll come out stronger and happier and more capable of whatever you want to kind of, you know, put in front of yourself to move forward. But all these kinds of issues and insecurities need to be processed, handled, faced, and dealt with in order for you to ultimately be able to move forward with clear eyes, a stronger conviction of self, more self-worth, and factoring yourself into the balance of your life. You know, you are important. So that was the reading for Aquarius for the month. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I ask that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead and leave me a comment if it resonated. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Auf Wiedersehen.